Hey guys, welcome back to Open It and Play. This is Mike, and today we're going to be looking at the Marvel Legends binary figure. This figure came out quite a while ago, but she's one of the last Avengers figures that I need. They came out with Star Fox recently, so Star Fox and Binary are like the only two Avengers members that I know of that they make figures of that I don't have. So I wanted to kind of complete my Avengers up to this point. It's kind of one of my goals since the Avengers are my favorite team. And boy, that's hard to focus on. Okay. So if you don't know much about Binary, this is Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel / Warbird. And she also has this identity. And if I remember right, in the comics, the storyline is when she's acting as Captain Marvel, I believe, after the death of the original Captain Marvel, she is captured by the Skrulls. And if I remember right, the Skrulls do experiments on her to try to enhance her powers and make her into a weapon for the Skrulls to use. But she becomes too powerful and she escapes. And then if I remember right, in the movie of Captain Marvel, they sort of did that, but they skipped ever calling her Binary maybe. But they changed it to be like the Kree did these experiments on her secretly. But honestly, I can't remember exactly. It may be the Skrulls in the movie too. But the movie's not really that impressive to me. It's not terrible, but it's not that impressive, so I don't remember in detail. I just remember they kind of did the original Captain Marvel dirty, so that was disappointing since I like that character. But okay, let's get her out of the box and quit blabbing. And you can see she comes with a few accessories. It's quite limited, but it's not terrible. She does have the usual swirly whirly effects. And I think at the time of this figure's release, it was, oh, wow, it's hard to find what year. Okay, 2021. So they were kind of getting old already at this point. But she does come with these kind of energy pom-pom-like effects, which are a nice change of pace. It might be kind of hard to get out of there, but okay. And she also comes with some alternate fists. And she has the usual female hands with one hand wide open and one hand kind of like this. So, since this is an older figure from 2021, oh, the background is her as Binary. That's kind of interesting. Since this is an older figure, she doesn't have pinless joints. That is something that will be a sticking point for newer collectors or people that like the recent changes to the pinless figures. I do like pinless figures. It's not super important to me, but I do like them if I can choose. But oh, she's got that weird thing where it looks like one leg is taller than the other. Sorry. Okay, and we'll get these effect pieces out so we can go over the accessories first. I believe these have a little bit of tape over them. These are not going to be that exciting, as you all know, if you're familiar with Marvel Legends. The twirly-whirly effects are the most overused thing in the Marvel Legends line, so I am really disappointed to see that she comes with those. But okay, if I get her standing somewhat straight. So you can see the figure here, but we'll see these effect pieces first. So we've got the twirly whirlies that are here. If my camera can focus and not shake so much. Sorry, it's really hard to focus. Okay, I'm going to hold everything in my hand to see if I can get it to focus better. This is like a color that it does not want to focus on. Okay, I think we got it. My camera will stop shaking. All right, so the twirly whirly effects This time they are kind of in a gradient of orange, kind of fading into a simpler yellow. So it's a little bit better than a solid color, but these are the really overused things. So, and there is the other one. And here are the big energy pom-pom looking things. So it's basically she's charging up, ready to shoot a big blast of plasma or energy. And I think these will fit best on her fists. But yeah, this hand won't work with it, I don't think. So we do have to change our hands to the fists to use those effects. We'll do that at the end of the review. Okay. And her alternate fists are just the straight up white fists. So now if you have like some of the Marvel Agents figures, you will have some other options because they come with trigger hands or trigger finger hands. But obviously binary is not going to really need that kind of a hand. So maybe there are some other options with other white-handed figures out there. The Shield Agents also come to mind. So is that the one I said? Yeah, it is the one I said. Anyway, for this figure, it is really outdated. So you do have the really skinny, not muscular looking legs and really skinny arms without any muscle definition as well. We got a little bit of fuzz in this joint, it looks like. A little bit of hair or fabric-y fuzz stuff. But yeah, and the paint job is not fantastic, but it's not terrible either. But it does have a few bits of paint missing in areas that maybe got scratched, or the paint was still sticky when they put it into the plastic, so it's lost a bit of the paint. But overall, it looks like an effect that you could kind of do yourself if you have a blank white body. But the stars might prove challenging unless you use like a decal or something. But let's look at her posability. So she does have the usual hinge and ball joint, so she can completely bury her chin in a very unnatural broken neck sort of way. As far as looking up, you can get a pretty good pose, but it does look terrible from the side like that. But you're just going to have to go with that because that's the only head we have for the binary character. So, okay. So if you're trying to get her into a flight pose, it's not terrible. Okay. And you do have an enormous amount of side to side because of how big of a lollipop syndrome she's got here. Just a totally missing a ton of her head in there in the back. So, okay. And her arms will go all the way around. They'll go up to here. She's got no bicep cut, so that stinks. But she does have the swivel at the elbow to try to make up for it a bit. The range you can see is not great. It's basically 90. And it can go back just slightly, but not a whole lot. Okay, and then these hinge horizontally. So it's kind of like the usual hands that we've seen so many times. So, okay. And then with her diaphragm joint, if you can call it that, very limited movement side to side, maybe the most. Back that far and forward. Oh, the forward is better than usual on this figure. That's interesting. Okay, so it's not terrible. It's more like straight, but it's a lot better than the typical ones, I think. So you can call her, or you can call it a diaphragm joint for this figure. She does have pretty good posability. And these scrawnier legs allow for a lot of gap, which means you can kick a lot higher. So she can kick higher than 90. Her legs will not go out to the side because of the way the top of these legs are cut. So this part will just crunch into the plastic in there. So no Van Damme whatsoever for this one. Okay, and she does have thigh cut and double jointed pinned knees. They'll get you back about that far, yeah. It looks like it would go more, but unfortunately it doesn't really go more. It doesn't hold the pose. Okay, and then no boot cut, sadly, and her ankles hinge and pivot as usual. Okay, and we've got to get a measurement on her height, which is going to be a little bit tricky with this super spiky flame hair. I'll try to get her looking straight forward when we do this. And like I said, she does have a left leg that appears to be longer than the right leg, which I think is actually a legitimate concern from the figures of this time period in Marvel Legends. This is based on the old female buck, so the Sue Storm has the same problem. It's like you always have to pose them the same pose because their left leg is longer than their right leg. I'm going to put her about as straight as I can make her, and then we'll check this height. Oops. Okay, to the top of her flame, we've got almost 17 centimeters. So that is 6 and just a moment, just about 6.5 inches, it looks like. Okay, so it's not that tall considering the flames go up really high. Let's try to get one more measurement, but this time we'll try to go more to the top of her head. If I can get a decent idea for that. For the top of her head, it's going to be around here. So 5 7/8 inches, or just shy of 15 centimeters, it looks like. Okay, so she's a little bit short if she doesn't have her flamey head effect. I thought about modifying this figure by giving her like a thicker build, a more muscular build, but it would require some painting. What's her name? Moonstone, I think. Moonstone's newer version for the Thunderbolts. What is her costume? It's just like all blank white body. But anyways, the psychologist lady, her body would work for this if you did some painting, but it might require quite a bit of painting in joints, which is really not easy to do. So I think I'll be content with this, as Carol Danvers is often depicted as having a smaller body. In the Mighty Avengers comics, then they made her like beefy, muscly, kind of reinvented version. That's okay too, but I think this is more the traditional look. So sorry, she's completely off. Oh, I wanted to put the effects on to give you an idea what that looks like. Even though this is an old figure and you've probably seen these effects before. They'll go in kind of like this. So it does look like an energy pom-pom, basically. Oh, this side has a little bit of a flamey open side. But yeah, you can't really twist it around that way. If I make it just flying kind of like this, you can see a little bit of her hand through there. But they're kind of cool effects, but it depends on everybody's opinion. Some people might be like, what is that? Is that popcorn? Is that like some kind of like pom-pom? Because it does kind of look like a physical thing, not an energy thing. If they were a little bit clearer, it might work better. But okay, sorry, this is out of focus the whole time. All right, thank you guys for joining me this look at the binary figure. I'll see you in the next one. I think we're gonna do some generic Star Wars figures that I got for customizing. So I'm not into Star Wars. It's just I am into customizing. So I use some of the parts from those to make somebody else. Okay, thanks guys. I hope things are good with you. And I'm so sorry, on my last video I forgot to say it, F-Ice, and on this video as well, F-Ice. Bye for now.